Good afternoon, everyone. This is the continuation of the report about Magna Carta for public teachers. From section 18 to section 35. For section 18, the cost of living allowance. Teachers' salaries shall, at the very least, keep pace with the rise in the cost of living by the payment of a cost of living allowance which shall automatically follow changes in a cost of living index. So, the determination of the cost of living allowances by the Secretary of Education shall, upon approval of the President of the Philippines, be binding on the city, municipal, or provincial government for the purposes of calculating the cost of living allowances of teachers under its employ. Now for the section 19, special hardship allowances. So the teachers here are exposed to hardship such as difficulty in commuting to the place of work or other hazards peculiar to the place of employment as determined by the Secretary of Education. So they shall be compensated special hardship allowances equivalent to at least 25% of their monthly salary. Now, next, Section 20. Its salaries to be paid in legal tender. The salaries of the teachers shall be paid in legal tender of the Philippines or its equivalent in checks or treasury warrants. However, that such checks or treasury warrants shall be cashable in any national, provincial, city, or municipal treasurer's office or any banking institutions operating under the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. We have the section 21, deductions prohibited. No person shall make any deduction whatsoever from the salaries of teachers except under the specific authority of law authorizing such deductions. That's for section 21. Now under the article 4, the health measures and injury benefits. The section 22, the medical examination and the treatment. Compulsory medical examination shall be provided free of charge for all teachers before they take up teaching and shall be repeated not less than once a year during the teacher's professional life. So, where medical examination show that medical treatment and or hospitalization is necessary, same shall be provided free by the government entity paying the salary of the teachers. In regions where there is scarcity of medical facilities, the teachers may obtain elsewhere the necessary medical care with the right to be reimbursed for their traveling expenses by the government entity concerned. Okay, for the section 23, the compensation for injuries, where the teachers shall be protected against the consequences of the employment injuries in accordance with existing laws. So this section, the effects of the physical and the nervous strain on the teacher's health shall be recognized as a compensable occupational disease in accordance with existing laws. Now, under the Article 5, leave and retirement benefits. Section 24, study leave. In addition to the leave privileges now enjoyed by the teachers in the public schools, they shall be entitled to study leave not exceeding 1 school year after 7 years of service. Such leave shall be granted in accordance with the schedule set by the Department of Education. So during the period of such leave, the teachers shall be entitled to at least 60% of their monthly salary, provided, however, that no teacher shall be allowed to accumulate more than 1 year study leave unless he needs an additional semester to finish his thesis for a graduate study in education or allied courses. In all cases, the study leave period shall be counted for seniority and pension purposes. Next, for the section 25, the indefinite leave. An indefinite sick leave of the absence shall be granted to the teachers when the nature of the illness demands a long treatment that will exceed 1 year at the least. So about this section, example for this leave is when you suffer a very serious illness like cancer and you are undergo chemotherapy, then you go for a long treatment, but this will exceed 1 year at the least. Now for the section 26, the salary increase upon retirement. So the public school teachers having fulfilled the age and service requirements of the applicable retirement laws shall be given one range salary raise upon retirement, which shall be the basis of the computation of the lump sum of the retirement pay and the monthly benefits thereafter. Now, under the Article 6, the teachers' organizations. The section 27, the freedom to organize. So the public school teachers shall have the right to freely and without previous authorization both to establish and to join organizations of their choosing, whether local or national, to further and to defend their interests. Okay, for the section 28, the discrimination against teachers prohibited. So the rights established in the immediately preceding section shall be exercised without any interference or the coercion. So it shall be unlawful for any person to commit any acts of discrimination against the teachers, which are calculated to make the employment of a teacher subject to the condition that they shall not join an organization. Then, to cause the dismissal of or a teacher by a reason of his membership in an organization or because of the participation in organization activities outside school hours or with the consent of the proper school authorities within school hours, and to prevent him from carrying out the duties laid upon him by his position in the organization, or to penalize him for an action undertaken in that capacity. Now for the section 29, we have the national teachers organizations. So the teachers organizations shall be consulted in the formulation of the national educational policies and professional standards, and in the formulation of the national policies governing the social security of the teachers. The last one, under the Article 7, the administration and the enforcements. We have the section 30, rules and regulations. So the Secretary of Education shall formulate and prepare the necessary rules and regulations to implement the provisions of this Act. For the section 31, the budgetary estimates. So the Secretary of Education shall submit to Congress annually the necessary budgetary estimates to implement the provisions of the Act concerning the benefits herein granted to the public school teachers under the employ of the national government. Next, for the section 32, we have the penal provision. For this section, a person who shall willfully interfere with, restrain, or curse any teacher in the exercise of his rights guaranteed by this Act, or who shall in any other manner commit any act to defeat any of the provisions of this Act, shall, upon conviction, be punished by a fine of not less than 100 pesos, nor more than 1,000 pesos, or by imprisonment in the discretion of the court. If the offender is a public official, the court shall order his dismissal from the government service. That's for the penal provision, section 32. Next, the section 33, repealing clause. For this section, all acts or parts of acts, executive orders, and their implementing rules inconsistent with the provisions of this Act are hereby repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Then, for the section 34, we have the separability clause. So this section, if any provision of this Act is declared invalid, the remainder of this Act or any provisions not affected thereby shall remain in force and in effect. That's for section 34. The last one, the section 35. This Act shall take effect upon its approval, and approved June 18, 1966. For my conclusion, the government is aware that the teachers play an important role, and for the public school teachers are the government's right arm. And of course, all teachers should know their rights. Thank you and keep safe.